was born in a little town called Insinger, Saskatchewan. That's central Saskatchewan. My parents arrived in Canada with my grandparents back in 1899, and I grew up in Insinger, went to school there, except for a short period of time, 5 years when I attended school in Winnipeg, and then ended back in Insinger on a farm, born and raised on a farm, of course. Following that, I worked in a municipal office as assistant secretary treasurer until I enlisted in the RCAF.
This was in Insinger?
Yes.
Now, do you know where your parents, or grandparents, should I say properly, came from?
Yes, both sides of the family, of my parents, were from Bukovina. My father's parents were from Selo Horoshutsy, and my grandmother on father's side was from Selo Boyanchuk, and my mother's parents were from Dobryniusi.
Now, can you tell us about whether you spoke Ukrainian in the home when you grew up, or what language was used?
I'm the oldest of 8 children in the family, and so my first language was Ukrainian. My English came to me after I started school.
Was there much of a Ukrainian community in Insinger, and what was the community life there like?
The Ukrainian community was almost 100%. In the town itself, there were only 2 Jewish families that ran 2 general stores, a postmaster, a railroad station master, and the rest are all Ukrainians.
Was there a parish, and what did the community life center around?
There was, the first church was built in, I believe, 1904. I'm now speaking of the Ukrainian Orthodox Church. Right. In those days, of course, there was no Orthodox church yet. It was, I believe, still the Russian jurisdiction. But it eventually transferred to the Ukrainian Orthodox Church of Canada.
I see. I didn't realize that the churches in Bukovina were connected with the Russian church.
It's not that they were connected with the Russian church, but that's all the services that they had in the province at that time.
I see. Now, was there any Ukrainian clubs or organizations outside the church community, and did you belong to any organizations as a young man, Ukrainian or otherwise?
There was a Ukrainian National Home, Nad Nedim, which our family belonged to, and as I got into my teens, so did I. There was something going on there all the time, mostly plays, Prestolniya, and both my parents and myself took part in it.
So were you an actor on occasion?
I was an amateur, yes.
Now, till what age of your life did you actually stay in Insinger?
Well, I was born in 1917, and then we moved to Winnipeg in 1925, and went back to Insinger in 1930.
I see.
And I stayed on there till 1940 when I enlisted in the Royal Canadian Air Force.
I see. Now, why did you enlist in the Air Force? How did that come to be?
There's really a number of reasons. One of them, of course, is, as most young people, there is a desire to get out, see what the rest of the world is all about. But I think more of a driving force in my decision was being in a completely Ukrainian area, settlement, and in those days it wasn't all rosy. There was an element of discrimination, and I didn't realize at the time, but I know now that I want to get out and show them that I was as good a Canadian as anybody else could be.
Now, when you say there was an element of discrimination, how did that manifest itself, or can you provide any examples or shed a little light on that?
Yes, I think I can. In that during the First World War, I was a First World War baby, of course, but as I learned about it later, I knew that a good number of Ukrainians were interned as foreign aliens because they came to Canada on Austro-Hungarian passport, though these people didn't know a word of Austrian. However, they were so categorized because that was their citizenship when they left Europe. And my immediate family was not bothered because we were on a farm, and naturally farmers had to raise grain for the war effort. Urban centers, I understand, was a little different. But there were people in our area that had to report.
Now, was there any discrimination that you personally encountered?
Yes, there's one that sort of saddens me now that didn't sadden me that much when I was a youngster. For example, we were not permitted, even after school hours, to have Ukrainian classes, even when we had Ukrainian teachers.
Who forbade this? Was it the principal, or was it?
It came down via the principal, but it wasn't necessarily the principal at fault. I think it was just a policy of the time. Whether this is a carryover from World War I and this alien thing, I do not know. But I know that after 5 o'clock, we're always on the lookout, and I've stood watching at a window in case a school inspector should show up.
Mm-hmm.
Then naturally, we're just doing extracurricular work according to our curriculum.
Did a school inspector ever show up?
No, but we were careful.
You were careful, of course. And now, did many young people from Insinger join the armed forces at the time, roughly, when you did, or at the beginning of the war?
Quite a good number. As a matter of fact, some didn't come back. I know in our town, 3 families lost their sons, and there were others that were wounded. My own family, there's 5 boys in our family, and a family of 8, and 4 of us are in the services.
But all survived.
Yes.
Now, before the work broke out, how much did you know about what went on in Europe and in Ukraine in particular?
Initially, grandfather would get correspondence via other people from his relatives. I don't know of any there now. And he was informed that way. In fact, later on in life, we even heard about the famine in Ukraine indirectly through these letters. But very obliquely, sort of, again, sort of quote an example, to questions that are asked in letters to them, some of the answers came back, things are fine here, we're living just like a Ukrainian on Good Friday.